Good morning. It's day 2 of 2024, a winter day. Today, after setting up, yesterday I managed to finish setting up the family command center. And then when I started working on the menus, try and do the January and February menu, I realized that one of the things that I needed to do was to go through the freezer and the fridge. There's just a lot of frozen things in there that haven't been used, that have been forgotten, and even in the kitchen cupboards. So for January, I'm just going to work through all of the UFOs, unknown items that are in the freezer, and the UFOs that are in the kitchen cupboards. So it's not going to be a set menu for January. The only set things are going to be Saturday night is going to be pizza nights, because we've always had pizza night on Friday, but we're moving it to a Saturday now. And Sunday is going to be a roast. So we always do a roast on a Sunday. And then everything else, and soup is going to be Monday. So all the other days are just going to be about clearing out the freezer and the fridge and the kitchen pantries, and then starting afresh. So today, the main thing that I am going to be doing is I'm going to be stock taking, finding out what we have, and then trying to cobble together some sort of meal plans that we can have with that. It's a fine-ish sort of day. It's a bit drizzly, a little bit rainy. There isn't any sun, so all the lights have to be on. Otherwise, it's dark. But yeah, it's gonna be a good day. And whilst I'm drinking my collagen, my favorite supplement catalog has arrived. Nature's Best. This is where I buy most of my supplements. So I'm gonna have a look through and see what I need to top up after I've done the stock taking. Kids aren't back at school, so we're just having a very relaxed kind of day before we get back to the grind, because our school day routine is pretty full on. It's very full on. So it's nice to have this time where everything is just relaxed and we're just kind of, regathering our energy so that we can go forth.
We're also doing thank you cards.
Oh yeah, and we're also doing thank you cards for all the Christmas presents that we got. It's best to get those done sooner rather than later. That's lovely, darling. Yeah. So I've just completed a stock take of the cellar freezer, because we have a freezer downstairs in the cellar, and we also have an integrated freezer up in the kitchen. And that's basically because I've never really liked food shopping. So we've always preferred to buy food in bulk, and then we freeze what we can. And whenever I find food on special offer or discount, I'll pick it up then and I will freeze it. So I'm definitely a big fan of freezing. But I don't think I needed to worry about the variety for January, because I found quite a lot of things that I didn't realize were there. So this is all of the things that were in the cellar freezer. So there's a pork shoulder in there. There's some Cumberland sausages. There's some beef mince packs in there. There's some sausage meat, as well as oxtail and chicken breast fillets that I picked up at Aldi when they were clearing out their shelves before Christmas. And it was 50% off on the chicken breast fillets. So I bought about 3 of them. And so we've got that in there, and a beef joint, as well as 3 frozen sticky toffee puddings. So I think we're pretty much sorted for January. The good news is I won't have to do a big food shop. I'll probably need to top up things like eggs and bread. But in terms of the main dinners, I'm going to be able to come up with something using these. So I want to be able to clear the whole of the freezers before I then do the shopping. I'm trying to be a bit better at controlling the food budget, basically. So yeah, I'm really, really happy about that. Whilst I was foraging around, I found some gyoza that we made. So that's what's going to be for lunch. It's coming up nearly to lunchtime. So I found these. We made these about 6 weeks ago, I think, and we froze them. So I'm just going to do these ones for lunch with the kids with some soy sauce and some sweet chili sauce. And they love it, and it's a good thing. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Temperatures have dipped a bit today, so I've had to layer up and put on something warm. And I finished the stock take of the freezers now. So I've actually got a lot of things that I can use. So when I get started with my menu plan, so as I said, I'm not really going to use as much of last year's because I have to get through the food that's already there. So it's not going to be the standard menu plan that I normally do. However, with the January one, we've got days that are just set items. And this is a good start to any menu planning that you may want to do. So for instance, pizza is something that we have once a week. So for this month, pizza is going to be on Saturday because we want the children to learn how to make pizza. And when we do it on a Friday, they're at school when we start the pizza making process. So it means that they miss out on most of the pizza making processes. So the idea is that by moving it to a Saturday, they can participate in making pizza and they can learn how to make their favorite meal. Right? And then Mondays, I like for Mondays to be soup days. And that's because every Sunday we do a roast, a traditional English roast. So it's either roast pork or roast lamb, roast chicken, or a really lovely heavy beef stew and dumplings with veg and gravy, mashed potatoes. So Sundays tend to be quite a heavy meal. So Monday is a soup. So those 3 days are taken care of. Sunday is a roast. Mondays is a soup. Sometimes I'll alternate between chicken soup and tomato soup. I've been trying to introduce pea and ham soup, but it's had a 50% take up. Some of the kids love it. Some of the kids absolutely hate it and won't touch it. But there we go. And then Saturday is pizza. So that leaves Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And because we're in winter right now, I like to have jacket potatoes regularly in winter. So I'm making Friday the jacket potato night where we'll just have different fillings to go with it. And part of the idea is that the fillings, I'll be making them from the leftover stuff that we have here. So now I just have to figure out what sort of things I can make with these and minimize the amount of shopping, food shopping that I have to do. And so that will be my menu done for January. And I'm not going to plan my menu for February straight away because I'm going to see how much I will have used over and see if there's a bit more flexibility with February. One thing I like to do each and every month when I plan the menu is I like to add in something new, something different. So menu planning is a bit like having a capsule wardrobe. You know what your favorites are, and you know that every time you put these together, it works. That's what menu planning is like. However, it is good to experiment and to try different things. So each month I try once a month to try something completely different. So I do that by looking through my cookbook selection to find something that we can try out. If it works out well, it then enters the rotation of the the menu food plans. So I try and have a rotation for winter, and I try to have a rotation for spring, and a rotation for summer, and a rotation for autumn. That way we are eating seasonally, and it just makes it easier to get things done. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing with the menu planning. But normally, for all the other months, what I will then be doing once I've done my cupboard clear out, I'll basically be copying over what I did over this last year. I like using these little calendars that I get from a pound shop. So they cost £1 effectively. And so it means that I've got a record of every single meal that we had over the last year. Now, just because it's written down doesn't mean that it stays like that. Obviously, things happen and what have you. Some months I'm really good with the planning and everything is stuck to religiously. But some months I'm not so good with it and things change. Sometimes I just feel, I don't feel like having rice today. Actually, I want to have, chicken wings with a potato salad. And I will do that. And what I'll do is I will scribble it out and then I will write in what I changed it to. Or sometimes I'll just swap things around. I'll swap the Thursday meal to a Tuesday because something's come up, which means that I have to do something that is quicker. And that's what I do. So I do love it was very hard for me to get started with menu planning. I found it very, very hard to do. But once I got into it, it's made my life so much easier. And it also means that the kids know exactly what is being cooked when. And I always try to make sure that each week there's at least one meal that one child really, really loves. That way there isn't, I try not to make it too much about what I like, but I try and make sure that I incorporate what the kids like. So the kids do help with the menu planning. So November and December was done by my boys respectively. And the girls wanted to do January, but they can't do January because we're doing this whole thing. But I've promised them that they'll be able to do February and March, and they'll have some flexibility around the set days that have got the meals. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because then they get to pick which one is the new dish for us to taste and try in our meals. So that's it. I've got the fire going now because the temperature's just dropped and it's quite cold, so that's why I had to layer up. And then we're off to a piano lesson and to run a couple of errands this evening, and then that will be it. I'm hoping that I'll be able to watch another Marple movie. I've been watching the Miss Marple movies starring Margaret Rutherford, directed by George Pollock, I think. And they're brilliant. They're made in the 1960s and they're black and white. Absolutely awesome.
To ensure that I don't get muddled up, once I have decided on the meal that I was going to use one of the inventory items on, after I'd added it to the calendar, I would then go and tick it or cross it off of the inventory list. And next to it, I would write the date that it had been allocated to on the menu plan. And that just made things a bit easier.
This is dinner. It's a prawn curry that we've made using up the prawns that have been in the freezer for a while.